All right, here we go. Okay, y'all. Let me see. There we go. Situate that. There we go. All right. No music today. We're gonna get right into it. Cut for time today. I'm a little pressed for time. Be on here about an hour. So, I'm gonna talk for about 30 minutes. And 2B said he wanted a link. So gonna leave that 30-minute mark for an open link. All right. So let's see, 7:30 to 8. I will just be discussing these fights, and then 8 o'clock, I will send that link out. All right, man. Though, had to stretch again. Ooh, get started here in a minute. Gotta get my back stretched out here. Marcus Bell, what's going on? Still coming down from the high, man. Still coming down from the high. Levels down. But yeah, I got a few people in here already. Make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button. Welcome back. Welcome back to another live stream. It's Monday, and we still talking about it. We still talking about it over here. UFC 269 was crazy. I mean, overall the card was good, but it was that one moment, man. That co-main event just put up, it just set the bar, man. I mean, it just skyrocketed. I mean, we all thought, Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm was an upset. We thought Joanna Rose was an upset, but this here, oh man, this is the upset of all upsets, man. I mean, um, definitely the biggest one in WMMA today. But like I said, I actually gave Pena a 30% chance, and I stand by that. Like I said, definitely stand by it for the reasons I said. But don't take away anything from her, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Two beasts in the building. Yeah, two beasts. I'm gonna send the link about 8 o'clock. I'm gonna just talk about the fights for about a half an hour. I'll let you on at 8, and yeah, because I'll be on here till 8:30 tonight. A little pressed for time, so we're gonna get it in today. All right. So first up, let's go ahead and talk about the opening fight. Let's talk about Jillian Robertson and this eye poking, weight missing cheat. I got to give it to her like that, man, because first off, you miss weight. You come in 4 pounds overweight. You knew you had a fight coming up at 125, and this is how you do. You try to come in with this weight advantage. On top of that, you try to put your thumb in the girl's eye. Ain't no excuse for that. I mean, it's one thing if you stick your hand out and you trying to block a shot, right? It's one thing if you stick your hand out and your fingers are open, your fingers are spread out, your hand is open, and they run into your hand. Fine, okay, just close your hand. But you literally reach back there and try to put your thumb and put your fingers in Jillian Robertson's eye. I'm like, come on, this ain't the streets. I just can't stand like, okay, if you miss weight, fine, okay, but you just racking the cheating up, man. You just racking it up all in one fight. So I got to take away a lot of respect for that. But Jillian Robertson, like I said, she did what she was supposed to do. Put on the performance I thought she would. And when I say the performance that she would, did I see improvements? No. Did I think Jillian Robertson was going to get submission win? Absolutely. Absolutely she was going to win. But she was going to eat some shots, which she did. It just came down to Priscilla Cachoeira not being a very good technical fighter. She's not a very good technical, striker. So what was working for her, she didn't really keep a good grasp on that. Good jab. The jab was touching Jillian. Jab opened up the nose, put the hands on her, good right hands. Didn't know how to find range, and boom, Jillian gets her to the ground. Right. So Jillian pretty much did what was expected. Shoot for ankles, try to shoot in. Um, but the thing was, Jillian finally got a grasp of throwing a leg kick. When she threw a leg kick, she switched levels. That opened up the takedown. It wasn't like she was just going to keep running in, doing this wrestling move and, shooting in. And she couldn't just keep doing that, expecting the takedown. No, that's not going to work. You have to throw strikes behind your takedowns, mask it, throw some kicks, and you'll get it. So that was a slight improvement. But the beginning of the round started to look like she was going to get pieced up. But, quickly, like I said, she's a hell of a lot more skilled than Priscilla Cachoeira, and it showed. I'm just not a fan of, dirty fighters like that, man. Just not a fan of that. From there, Jillian was just in transition mode, just, moving from passing the guard, side control, full mount, you name it. She was just saying, okay, this is a tutorial on how you go to a full mount to try for an armbar. Can't get the armbar, we go in the rear naked choke, right? So, Jillian did what she was supposed to do. Shout out to Jillian Robertson. Is this enough to put her in the top 15? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Is there still questions about what she can do? Yeah, for sure. Because this is an opponent we know brings power, but she's not really bringing anything else, right? She's not really bringing any big threats for Jillian to make adjustments to. Jillian just said, look, get this to the ground, I'm going to drown her. We get it to the ground, she drowns. That's just how the fight went. So this ain't enough to make me get too excited. This is just enough to keep her afloat. Like, because you got to remember, she still lost back-to-back to Miranda and Taylor, right? So don't you dare count Miranda out, which we're going to get to here in a minute. Don't you dare count Miranda out, because the opponent Miranda fought is a budding contender, in my opinion. She's showing some tools that some of these other fighters on no levels really show. So if you disagree, that's fine. But I'm gonna stick with what I know, and that's because I know what I know. But Jillian, like I said, going back to Jillian, no way. She's not in lineup for top 15 after this win. It's not enough. Got work to do. Still have to, add some more striking, elements to her game. Gotta add some more dirty boxing elements. She loves to strike on the ground. I was looking at her IG, Jillian Robertson was like, I'm a savage on the ground. My ground and pound is, ratchet. Hey, let's see some ratchet ground. Let me see some ratchet inside fighting. Let me see some inside fighting, and let me see you get in the pocket and bust these girls up. Get that DC dirty boxing in there. Where's that at? Where's that authority? When you standing with somebody, maul somebody on the fence, right? Where's all that at? We need to see some of that. But from here, I think Jillian Robertson is fit for Nabash. What's going on? He said, let me see. Ernest said, out of a job. Dang. Marcus said the fight between Priscilla basically told Jillian needs to stay away from a known. Exactly. 100%, bro. 100%. 100%. The fight between Jillian and Priscilla basically told Jillian needs to stay away from a known, for sure. The boss said Jillian versus Cortez next. I like that. Marcus said I was having a hard time with that fight between Miranda and Aaron. Yeah. The boss, Priscilla was blatantly cheating. She should have been disqualified. Yeah, she was on, I don't know what she was on, some just some street fighting, just deliberately, going, trying to get disqualified. I don't know, man. To be said, to think that Tracy held her own in the grappling against Aaron makes Tracy a little more interesting. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I just haven't been talking about Tracy as much because she's kind of been inactive. She hasn't really been going. She hasn't really been sure she's going to 125 or 135. That's why I haven't really been talking about her. But she beat Agapova and she beat Aaron Blanchfield. So Tracy's on there. I just need to see some more in the UFC. If she gets two legit wins, and we'll bring her back into the mix though. But Tracy's one to, we gotta keep an eye on her. We just gotta get her in the octagon first before we keep talking though. But what else? Yeah, Jillian Cortez is good. Jillian and who else? Let's see. Winner of Kay Hansen and Jasmine Jasavidius. I don't know. Jillian, yeah, Tracy Cortez. Because everybody else, like, she's already fought Molly McCann. She's fought a lot of these unranked fighters. So Tracy might be a good test for her now. Like, time to get back into it. You want to get in the top 15, But yeah, improvements need to be made. This was a stay afloat fight for both of these ladies. And I think right now, after, Priscilla pulling all of this BS in one fight, she might be getting a pink slip. All right. But let's move on. All right, man. My heart and brain were torn on this fight here, man. I was like, Aaron and Miranda, what? Oh man. Miranda Maverick versus Aaron Blanchfield. Oh man. Outside influences, man. Outside influences, all I can say. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm using that as, a learning lesson for this fighter. If Miranda has other things going on, you have to go back and say, hey man, like, what comes first? You have to say what comes first, this fight game or whatever it is I'm doing over here. Like, whatever it is I'm doing over here, can it wait? And can I go back to focus on fighting? That's what's kind of been running through my mind with, Miranda's moves going on in the UFC right now, because okay, on paper, we know she beat Macy Barber, but on paper, it's still a loss. It's still a loss, right? So right now she's 2-2 in the UFC. This has to be a time where Miranda says, look, this is a young woman's sport, and I got to give it my all right now. I've got to give it my all. I've got to put everything on the line now, sacrifice everything in my youth, because, you're always going to have that what if factor if you don't put it all on the line now. And speaking of that, Aaron Blanchfield, that's her approach, right? That's what I'm telling y'all. Aaron Blanchfield has something. A lot of people say they're not impressed by her performance. When you fight somebody that has a lot of skills, it's never going to look pretty. Like, it's going to be a boring fight. Why do you think on a high level, Nunes and Shevchenko doesn't turn out to be fight of the night? That fight is boring because you have two technically sound fighters, right? So if some people are feeling like Aaron didn't knock her out, Aaron couldn't knock her out, all she did was lay on her, all she did was grapple with her. Okay, like, Miranda's strong. Like, Miranda still has some defense mechanisms on the ground there. She may not be as good with her jiu-jitsu, but she still has enough to get out of harm's way. But even then, what are y'all overlooking? Like, Aaron Blanchfield dominated. She mauled her. She out-grappled her. 7 out of 6 takedowns. I'm the boxing and striking fan. Like, why was I excited and impressed by grappling and wrestling in this fight? You know what I mean? Like, why is it me that was feeling like, oh man, I'm enjoying this? I picked Miranda, but hey, all the while I'm smiling because, Aaron's still putting on a great fight. She's put on a great grappling clinic. Her jiu-jitsu, like I said, black belt, man, at a young age. And it's not just a black belt jiu-jitsu, it's translating it beautifully to the mat. Like, I can't stress that enough to y'all. So I'm just leaving it there for y'all. Like I said, shout out to BJ. He actually did his research. Everybody kept saying they don't know what they see in Miranda. At least he did his research and he went to see what type of fighter she is. And he picked Miranda. I mean, he picked Aaron and he riding with her on it. But I mean, I'm for sure still, hey, like I said, I was torn because I know what they can do. I knew what they were capable of. And I expected more from Miranda. I expected her at least get a round in or, at least make one close round. But it just didn't look like her. Just poor execution. Good striking, but poor execution. Like her thing in this fight should have been, clinch fighting, breaking, dirty boxing, and takedown defense. Because that was the one thing I said my keys to victory. Miranda might want to surprise with takedowns, but she'll probably want to avoid the ground with a BJJ practitioner like Aaron. Because Aaron is that good. I told y'all, Aaron is that good. So anybody telling me that, oh, I told you Aaron would win, you ain't tell me nothing. I already know what these two fighters were capable of. Why do you think I was torn on this fight? So I don't even want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear that. I've already been watching both of these fighters. If I pick one, I just had to pick one. I'm picking the fighter with experience and tools. That's Miranda. But I told you, Aaron can get it done, and she did. But I still want to go back and break this fight down in the video, man, because it was just crazy. Like Aaron's transitions are just beautiful, and the way she's so comfortable, like just the way she can, like her visual placement, like you watching how she, is letting Miranda make certain moves, and she'll just like capitalize and just flip her, and like when she got the crucifix, I thought she was gonna stop Miranda. I was like, oh no, here we go. Oh damn it. I was like, oh man, come on, Miranda, don't get stopped in there. But she held her own. She stayed in there. Almost got submitted in the third round with that rear naked choke. So Aaron is just, an artist, man. Like compare it to Mackenzie Dern a little bit. You know what I mean? Like look what Mackenzie can do. That this girl has the same thing, except her striking is better. So believe me, she will be in the top 10 soon. She will be. Let me see. Ernest said this fight turned out my parlay. 2B said that Aaron fight was awesome. Yeah, people are too needy, man. Like way too needy. I mean, like, what do you want? I mean, you complain about fighters like, like I said, I critique fighters like Jillian and Montana, but you complain about them. But then when a fighter like Aaron shows you more than two or three tools, you still complain about her. Or Miranda, like Miranda's got some well-rounded skills. Why do you think she still made it out of this fight? She still won the stand-up. She just had a poor execution though, man. Poor execution. Because with that being said, I think if Miranda, tightens up and gets back to focusing 100% on fighting, the fight would be a lot more competitive. Like if this fight took place in Invicta, it would have been more so competitive. What else I want to talk about with this one? Let's see. Yeah, so Aaron is well-rounded to me. Like on a lower level, I think she's still putting some things together, but out of the unranked fighters, she is showing. Let me say she's a promising, well-rounded fighter, right? She's not a perfectly well-rounded fighter, but she's a promising one. Because sometimes that stuff can go out the door when you move up the ladder and you start to feel yourself and you start to abandon things. But we'll call her well-rounded when she makes it into the top 10, right? Back to Miranda though. Is Miranda still in my well first off, hold up. let me go ahead and say I am now turning the triple threat into the 4 horsewomen. All right. 4 horsewomen. And we will rotate them out when somebody just, falls off completely. We still got the 4 horsewomen. These are the 4 women that are threats to the division, and maybe potentially the champion. Let me word that right for y'all that don't listen. The 4 horsewomen, these are the women that are threats to the division. They can weed the veterans out, and they have potential to go for that belt. Y'all heard me. So we got Taylor, of course. She's next. She might be next in line to get the belt, right? Manon Firo, definitely is number 2 on that ranking now. Right? My number 3 is Erin Blanchfield. She shows me a lot. She did this win with Miranda holds a lot of weight because she beat a fighter that to me was 3-0. Miranda has some good wins. She's tough. Miranda's been fighting nothing but tough fights. So if you can beat her in the fashion that you did, that makes me think of you as a threat. Okay. And she dominated a big girl in Sarah Alpar. So she's my 3rd. And I'm keeping Miranda in there. I'm still keeping her in there because, like I said, technically she's still 3-1 to me. This is really her first legit loss in the UFC. So Miranda stays in there. Keep your mouth closed if you don't like that, but she's staying in there. That's my 4 fighters I think can eventually, take over this division and retire some fighters. All right. So that picture down there is going to change. That picture down there is going to change. I will do it by ranking. Like I said, my most promising is Taylor and Manon. And then we'll put Erin next. And then, Miranda's holding on. Let's be real. She holding on. With one more loss, so probably it's going to turn into triple threat. I'm just saying. Got to get it right. That's motivation. Got to move it. Got to stay focused. All right. So next up for Erin, I would love to see Erin. Erin Blanchfield take on the winner of Roxy Casey O'Neill, or the winner of Jessica I and Manon. Who's available right now? Let's see. Who do we have available for Erin to fight next? Because Erin's hungry. Erin is hungry and she wants to be fed. Calvillo. Boom, Calvillo. Or Calvillo could take on Jillian Robertson in a rematch. But now that I think about it, no, man. Erin Calvillo. What do y'all like? Y'all like that? Blanchfield versus Calvillo. Y'all like that? Oh, yeah. Marcus said nope. Oh, shoot. Let me see. Let me read these comments real quick. 2B said, give me Natalie Salado versus. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that would be good, man. That'd be good. The boss said Erin made it look easy, but Miranda's takedown defense is not bad, actually. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. When she tried to take it down, she stayed up, man. But she did get 7 out of 8 takedowns, though, man. So she did good for, Yeah, she did good, though. I mean, in some moments to survive. Mariah said, yeah, she didn't listen to her coach. I kind of thought her coach was panicking a little bit, honestly. George Hamler said, yo, man, this new walk outside, take the money and run. Wild Tiger, what's going on? She said, some of these Nunes fans are funny. You know, they are. I mean, Nunes fans, Kayla fans, Rose fans, Whaley, whoever. I mean, when you really start to act like you live with this fighter, I mean, get out of here. Yeah, to be. I am known as next. All right, make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button. Yeah, Calvillo. The boss said not Manon. Yeah, Calvillo, man. Calvillo versus Erin Blanchfield. Let's do that. I like that. I'm a known made, so let me speak this one into. I'm gonna speak this one into existence, just like I did the last one. Hold on. spoke that fight into existence. So F right there. And I think Blanchfield might body her, man. Stamina, what's going on? Let's see. Okay. Let me get this link out here. I'm gonna talk Nunes and Pena with my man Two Beasts here. Because I'm not gonna spend a great deal, another 30 minutes. So get on here. Hold on. Do I have your email address, man? Hold on. Do I have it? Let's see if I got your email address saved. I don't have nobody's address saved, but what's the first three letters of your? What's the first three letters of your email? Two B's. Marcus said Miranda Granger versus Ruiz. Why not, man? Or why not Melanie Giggles versus Jillian Robertson? Let's see. I don't think I have it. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that'll work. Hang on, let me get that. That's easy. Okay. Go. All right, so here we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, I did. Wait a minute. Oh no, there we go. Then let's put that up there. Okay. Sorry about that. I was sending out a link here because I said I would talk 30 minutes and then I do this open link for my man Two Beasts, and yeah, got to 8:30 though. I'm just cutting it kind of close today because I want to have some other stuff to do. Calvillo better keep Valentina name out her mouth. Yeah, yeah. Everybody should. Everybody should really. Everybody should, except for Taylor Santos and Andrea Lee. Robert Henry said, whenever Pena's arms are wrapped around, it's obvious enough for Amanda to give up. I don't see what the big deal was. I don't either. I don't either. And honestly, I don't think anybody could really come up with a logical argument with me. That's why they didn't say anything. So yeah, you keep it that way. Because I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, what are y'all talking about? I'll tell you about a rigged fight. I'll tell you about a Cowboy Cerrone fight. I'll tell you about a Canelo Kovalev fight. You want rigged fights? I'll tell you about those. Totally different story. I'll tell you about Cowboy Cerrone, and I'll tell you why that would be rigged in another video. But I mean, this fight, why? Why would you risk the gamble when Pena is not, a big, huge draw? Now, if that was like Ronda Rousey on a comeback, come on. That was Ronda Rousey on like a comeback. Now, we'll talk. All right. And got a special guest in here, y'all. Got my man Two Beasts joining me. Two Beasts, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
All right, what's going on with you, man? Where do we start? What'd you think of the card overall, man? UFC 269.
So yeah, I watched the Sean O'Malley fight. and then I also watched the co-main, and then Dustin and Oliveira.
Okay. Yeah, Sean O'Malley, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I love his style, man. Like, I don't know why people hate him, but I love that guy where he fights, man. I just like his attitude too. Gotta give him some credit. I mean, he's fighting unranked fighters, but I love watching him, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. And I like that. He's kind of reminds me of like Izzy in that he's able to avoid those grappling exchanges.
Yeah. Oh, you still there? Hang on, I think his connection went out.
Is it
Okay.
working now?
Yeah, it's working now. I lost
Okay.
you when you said grappling exchanges.
Okay, yeah. So basically, like with Sean though, he got like I think a purple belt or brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So he's actually
Yeah.
got some capabilities on the ground, even if, he was to get in that situation, but for the most part he can avoid it, based off his footwork and striking. But yeah, the Pena fight, man, oh my goodness, like that was cool as hell to watch, in my opinion, just because of like the buildup and how much shit she was talking, this, that, and the other, and like literally doing what she said she planned on doing. Like, and with everybody expecting her not to, that was cool as hell, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, man. Hey, shout out, man. Shout out to Pena, man. Like I said, hey, shout out to you 2B. You stuck with your girl, man. You knew she had it in her. I mean, like I said, like I gave her 30%. Some people think that was too low, but you see where I'm coming from, like versus saying it's 50-50 though, right?
No, no,
On my side.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you had to go off of the track. Like on paper, it's she has a low chance of winning. But
Mm-hmm.
me, I was thinking in terms of like, okay, when you look at the Jermaine Durandamy fight, and then you look at Valentina Shevchenko fight, those two have very elite level striking. Now, people could make the argument that Jermaine Durandamy has a little bit better striking than Amanda Nunes. But then again, at the same time, Jermaine, she had to worry about the takedown a little bit more. It's kind of like the Khabib effect, where like people are so worried about the takedown, it adds to the other person's striking capability in a sense. But nonetheless, Pena 8 shots from GDR, kept coming forward.
I heard a excuse me, I heard a click. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, what were you
Can you,
saying right after you said she kept coming forward? Oh, were you stopping there?
no, I was saying like she she essentially held her own in that
Mm-hmm.
situation with a striker. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I'm like, it's not like she was just completely just out of her element or just getting dogged on the feet or anything, or just getting dogged in that fight, period. It
Mm-hmm.
was, you could make the argument that it was competitive. So I'm like, it's not like she's necessarily lying when she says she could be a bad matchup for Amanda Nunes based on pressure, based on the fact that she's actually willing and not scared of her. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But that's why I was thinking, like, you know what? If anybody, it's kind of like John Anik. What he said was like, if I'm gonna send anybody to go beat Amanda out of all the people in the division at this point, I'm gonna send Pena.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, but that's not really like what I was trying to get at, like in terms of talking on the live stream.
Okay.
What I was really interested in speaking on is how a lot of times people will discount fighters way too much into an extreme where it's like, okay, this fight shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't be in there together. Or as much as to use that word I can't stand, which is a can. Like they'll call these fighters cans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Valentina doesn't have a challenge. Oh, Amanda doesn't have a challenge. But it's like we all like we converse about that, and we're like, okay, they don't have challenges, but look what just happened.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying?
you
So
never
it's
know.
like that's what always gets me when people are so heavy to come down on these fires. Like, oh, there's no chance. That's why you gotta watch that shit. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's what the commentators at the end of it, I think they were talking about. That's why they play the game still. Even though, odds or whatever it is, they're not gonna skip that game though. You got a basketball game, someone gets injured all of a sudden, now it's not that big of a blowout potential. You
Right.
feel me? So you never know, and ultimately you gotta still go to that fight. You still gonna watch it because you never know. Amanda Nunes might, trip on her ankle, or who knows what's gonna happen. And then all of a sudden, like the Conor McGregor shit, like now this guy broke his foot. Like fights are crazy. You know what I mean? So before we so quick to discount a fighter and be like dissing them and oh she's only 1-1, well look at everybody else in the division. It's
Mhm.
like she's the one who opened her mouth and she got fed in a huge way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean,
So
like, the bar she set is just like it puts a lot of other girls to shame that are on like winning streaks and they can't even get the title shot. Because this girl, back in like January, February, she was on Twitter calling Nunes out. Remember? And
yeah.
I did a video then. I said, "Oh, she's calling her out." I said, "Okay, give her the shot. She deserves it. Give her the shot.
Hmm.
Kenya wants it." And back then I said, "Okay, in my opinion, she might not win because my percentage for her is 70-30 even then." But I was like, that's still a chance because
Hmm.
in that meantime, when she's training behind the scenes, that 30 is going to rise to 40 to 50 in her camp. Maybe not my mindset, but my mindset don't count. What she's doing works, right? So
Right.
everything she was doing behind the scenes, worked in her favor. And man, two beats. And I tell you, man, look, that first round, everything Nunes was landing was hurting and dropping her. But
Hmm.
the minute Nunes chose to go to the ground, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, uh-oh. And Nunes won that round, right? But I said, I don't know, man. I don't like that look on her face, man, because Juliana, I say this about Juliana too. Like, Juliana Pena, when she gets on the ground, she's very active. Like, she doesn't just lay and pray. She's always working. And Nunes
Hmm.
wasn't ready for that high-paced grappling, man. Did you notice, man?
Yeah, like when I seen it go to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit concerned for Pena because like Nunes was on
Yeah.
top, and I was thinking like maybe the ground and pound comes into play, but then she was immediately able to get that Kimura trap.
Yeah.
And I think they said it wasn't like properly put in like all the way to where it's like a real like heavy threat, but it
Mm-hmm.
was something enough to where she had to put some focus on it. And I think this will ultimately allow for Pena to keep, make it to the end of the round. But then Nunes got out of it at the end of it. And then, but still though, like I think personally what happened, my perception of this fight is a number of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that based on the skill that Pena displayed with the jab, just like you talked about, that
Yeah.
combined with her just getting Amanda Nunes out of her element, whether it was mental, whether it was it was a combination of the jab and her willingness to stand and trade with her and not go away, even though Amanda hit her with her best shot. So it was the mental toughness combined with the skill implemented with the jab, as well as that that essentially took away from Amanda Nunes's focus on, hey, let's conserve energy. Hey, let's pick our shots properly. Let's not be too flat footed. Work on our leg kicks like we were doing that worked in the first round. You know what I mean? Like all those
Mm-hmm.
little things, she got away from that based on those combination of three things, like Juliana Pena standing with her, Juliana Pena working the jab, and Amanda Nunes. Usually, she hits someone, they back the fuck up. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not trying to get hit by her. But Pena's like, give me more. And then also she grappled in the first round, so it's like all these factors coming into play. And then also I do personally think that, the thing that shall not be named played a part in it as well when she had that situation and had to pull out of the fight because of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have played a factor on the cardio, plus also the 2 years away from bantamweight. I think
Mm-hmm.
that had a huge deal to do with it. because
Mhm.
it's essentially her body adjusted to 2 straight fights at 145. Like, oh, we only got to cut to this much, and we can perform at this level. And people say, oh, why would she fade after two rounds that were kind of light? And the reason being is because when she did go those 5 rounds last time,
Mhm.
um, it was at 145. So it
Right.
was a less of a weight cut. It was 2 years ago since she went 5 rounds with Jermaine. So it's like that was a long time that the body hadn't been adjusted to doing that at that low of a weight. So that combined with the thing that shall not be named, and combined with, her having the baby and being very happy in life, you know what I'm saying? All these different factors. It wasn't just one thing. Like, it wasn't just the jab. It wasn't just her coming for. It was a combination of a lot of very beneficial things going on for Pena that allowed for her to pick up the W.
Right.
And, none of this would have happened if she didn't open her mouth. So everybody dissing Pena, you know. So, but yeah, I picked her by stoppage because I was thinking, like, dude, you can't be that confident as she is and not at least have some sort of trick up your sleeve. But really what I was going for, I was just like, you know what? Maybe in a crazy world, she gets this thing done, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I wanted to stick. I've been waiting to call one upset, like, ever since I started following WMMA like actively.
Mhm.
So I just said, you know what, I'm running with Pena for it. And got lucky by stoppage. So
Hey man, like I ain't gonna lie. Look, I was like smiling the whole fight, man. Like some people say, "Oh, I know you picked Nunez to win." I'm like, "Hey, I picked Nunez," but I'm like, I ain't got nothing invested here. I was like, I'm invested in a good fight, you know. And when that second round went down, I
right,
was
right.
smiling, man. Like, what was your reaction to like the minute they started trading? Like when you saw Amanda Nunez get buckled, like no, go back to the beginning of the round when she hit Nunez with that first jab and she like stumbled back. Like, what was your thoughts right there, man?
Um, so first, before even the second round started, I was a little bit concerned because I heard Pena say she's stopping me. Like, she said that twice in her corner when she sat down. I think she was referring to, like, maybe that single leg she went for in the first round, but she said it twice, and the coach was like, "Hey, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that." And then he went on to say something, but like that was when I first got concerned. But then when the second round started and she landed the jab, I'm like, okay, we haven't hit like a dire situation where she's getting tagged and all of a sudden the fight's falling away from her. Like, yeah, she's eating punches here and there, but it's not like detrimental. You know what I mean? It's not
Mhm,
diabolical situations where she's about to be out of there sometime soon. And as it
mhm,
went on, they're trading. Nunez hit some, and then Pena hit some. And Nunez, and they're just going back and forth. But I noticed early on, Pena was trying to time Amanda's leg kicks with straight shots down the middle.
yeah, she was.
She,
Yeah.
and she landed a couple in the first round,
Mhm,
but she ended up paying for it at one point. I think Amanda landed a teep kick or something that kicked her back to the cage and she fell. And then that's when she ended up getting on top of her. But
mhm,
I noticed early that she was trying to counter Amanda's, power shots, which she wasn't doing straight. She was kind of like, it was either a hook, haymaker, uppercut, something. It wasn't like a whole lot of jabs and straight shots that Amanda was throwing. Pena would counter those. She would try to beat her to the punch. Like, if Amanda's throwing a right hook, then Pena's throwing a left jab straight down the middle.
mhm,
And I would notice she would catch her every now and again. Every now and again, Pena would also get hit with a shot, but then she landed like a nice combination with her elbow or something. And then, I listened to it with the commentators as well. So it kind of screws up, your perception of it if they have like some narrative they're trying to push. But but it didn't necessarily look bad for Pena. That's the whole thought process throughout the whole beginning of the second round. Like, dude, this doesn't look bad at all. And I'm impressed that she isn't like desperately trying to shoot him for a takedown or anything. You
Yeah,
know, so
I think that was a big benefit there because most people that are just want to get they're known as wrestlers, they'll just want to get it down. But like Pena, she stuck to a stand-up game, you know what I mean? Like, and when she went down, she just kind of like mentally lured Nunes in the first round. So I did find that impressive, man.
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, man, it was just a combination of a lot of good things going on for Pena all at once. And then thanks to her toughness and willingness and desire to want to go out there and win, I think that's ultimately combined with all the good factors going on, that's what got her to win. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, good for her. You know what I mean? But the good part is, hey, we got a new champion. It's interesting. You know what I mean? And I think a conversation might have to be had on, what does this mean like in terms of how we think about Valentina Shevchenko, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, they've all fought each other. You got two ways you could look at it. And I know it's kind of MMA math, but it's still kind of interesting to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Pena can now claim she did something that Valentina couldn't do in 2 tries.
Right.
Valentina now can claim, hey, Amanda, you're the GOAT, but I stopped someone that you couldn't, that actually stopped you.
Right.
And, Amanda had Valentina's back in the first fight. And that round ended up with Valentina on top.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, now it begs the question, how do we view Valentina?
Right. You know what? It's crazy because when you have these three and styles make fights, it's like
Hmm.
each of them possesses something that's either gonna give it to them or it's gonna hold them back. Like if you think
Right.
about it, like Shevchenko, if she had what Pena had, she probably would have beat Nunes, but she's more of a cautious fighter. Whereas
Right.
Pena, if she had maybe some of the technical prowess of Nunes, it might kind of switch up the fight. But you see, in this fight, the recklessness saved her, whereas Shevchenko didn't commit. She didn't commit to like hard punches and really, drawing Nunes into a high paced fight that cost her 2 fights. But you see, like from a distance, like controlled striking, Pena can use that recklessness to her advantage. But when she's inside, she's on the ground, there's always that element of her getting choked out or submitted, like
Hmm.
Valentina and GDR did. But it just comes into play in different ways. Like recklessness can help you sometimes or it can cost you. Overcautious can help you sometimes or it can cost you, So
Yeah.
it's just kind
It
of back and forth with all of them, and that's the beauty of it.
One thing I find interesting though is, look at Pena's face at the end of her fight with Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at Valentina's face at the end of her fight with Amanda,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I think Valentina may not be able to beat Amanda, who knows? I think it's because she values being able to fight as long as possible.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Versus Pena, she's in the moment like, I'm gonna go all out in this one particular fight because it's for the belt. Whereas Valentina's maybe values longevity over each individual fight. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore Pena's willing to go balls to the wall and say, fuck it, even if I get all this damage to my face and this potential whatever, I want to win this fight. Whereas Valentina, she's like, okay, I'm not only just thinking about this championship fight, I'm thinking about 5 championship fights from now, 10 championship fights from now. You know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
she's more conservative in that she's not
Right.
willing to sacrifice all that damage for one particular fight. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
You know,
obviously, yeah, go
Valentina's
ahead.
that fighter whenever she gets, when Valentina go up the mountain with her bike, right? But when she riding down, she be like, "No, I gotta have the helmet. I gotta have the shoulder pads, everything." Julian opinion, she'd be like, "Peace, I'm gone. No helmet, none of that. She gone." You might see her rolling down. She might break something, but she get back up and keep going. That's what it's like. Like I said, sometimes that might benefit you. Sometimes it won't. You know,
Right.
Bluebird, he put it nice. He said, "Rock, paper, scissors."
I
Rock,
think
paper.
though, uh, one interest, like if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Valentina has been that way all her life pretty much, and she's probably fought at least 70 to 100 people in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 70 to 100 people, what, three people have beaten her?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, should I change up something that has worked for so long over just this one person that I happen to not beat? You know, put in the recklessness, put in a higher level of aggression, more risk taking, and take potential more damage? Or should I stick to something that has won me close to 100 fights in my life? You know?
Mm. That's a good
So
question,
it's
man.
like,
That's a good topic, man. I don't
so
know, man.
I
Like,
think that's ultimate. Yeah,
I think,
I
man,
think
like,
that's what gets it. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
What were you saying? Oh no, go ahead.
I was just I was just gonna say, like, I think that's what comes into play the most with the Nunes Valentina fight, in all honesty.
Yeah, yeah. Man, like, I think Valentine should just stick it out how she does. Just me thinking about it now. Because I don't think she should change it up. Because that's just her. Pena just finally found her niche. Like, just walking into the fire this time and getting a couple of burns. Not getting burnt up, and she was able to do it, man. But what do you think going into a rematch? Somebody asked me. I was like, I don't know right now, man. I couldn't answer. But like, what do you think Nunes versus Pena?
I'm right there with you, bro. I have
Hmm.
no freaking idea. The thing is though, one thing I can guarantee is Payne's gonna be in a much harder fight.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Hmm.
And what you call it, Amanda is definitely gonna be in better shape um come next time around. So we're probably looking at either a early finish by Amanda, first or second round, or we're potentially looking at a long, drawn out 5 round decision. I think it's like on the extreme ends more so with this second fight.
Hmm.
Either Amanda's gonna be super motivated to get her the hell out of there, you know, and because like I think they said something about Amanda being conservative and letting her get up that first time she knocked her down with like a leg kick or something, and she didn't like it was like the third time that Pena fell down up against close against the cage when Nunes decided to get on top of her in the first round. And I think like maybe let's say the next fight she's way more aggressive, like screw that, I'm just gonna try to end it in the first. I don't even want to give her time to regroup in a corner. It could be one of those things, or it could
Hmm.
be Amanda's super conservative, stays focused, and it's a 5 round. It won't be like the Shevchenko Nunes fight, but because new what you call Pena isn't like that technically sound, but it'll be like a dog fight that Amanda's kind of playing the Shevchenko role, and then Juliana Pena is like being the aggressor, pushing the action, pushing forward, which
Hmm.
would be an interesting dynamic if you think about it. But yeah, I think that second fight is a 50-50. I have no idea how that shit's gonna go.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not either, man. Like, I'm still gonna kind of lean towards Nunes just by instinct, but when I factor in somebody with just a style that can just kind of disrupt your whole game mentally, Pena kind of has that on Nunes. I mean, like you were talking about earlier, man, everything leading up to this fight, like just the mic skills, like Pena just trying to bury Nunes or bring her out of her element. Like Nunes said some funny things, but I was just kind of like, this ain't really her. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't really her. Like,
I I thought like you know what my perception was like Nunes was actually very motivated for the fight.
Mhm.
and actually was very excited for it. I just don't think that that translated to the actual training potentially. Like I said, it could have been the thing that might shouldn't be named, that, maybe Nunes believed and felt a certain way up until the fight came around. You know what I'm saying? And then that shouldn't be named reared its ugly head then. Or it could be, just in general, she just I don't know. I feel like she was just excited and it translated through a little bit of banter. Like I don't think, Pena was in her head or Nunes was necessarily out of element. Me personally, I think
Mhm.
Nunes was just genuinely excited to just trash talk with her. Like I
Mm.
think she was just like kind of giddy inside, like, oh, this chick wants to trash talk with me. Like, I fuck it, I'll engage. She's not gonna beat me. You know her accent or whatever. It's real cool. Like this girl's not gonna beat me. I'll trash talk with her if she wants. She's just like just enjoying it, I guess. Like that was my take on it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, she the Misha Tate comment really got to me. That just made me laugh, but it didn't age right because it didn't age very well when she went out that way and Misha was just like cheering ringside. She was like, "That's what you get for talking trash about me." But
Oh man.
but yeah, man,
Yeah,
overall it's good, man. Good card though, man. Like I said though, Pena, she got a target on her back now.
hmm
Let me ask you this, man. Like, let's say she beats Nunes in this rematch. She beats Nunes. How long do you see her holding that belt, man?
the first thing I would look at is like who she's fought already.
Mhm.
And the first person that comes to mind is GDR, but then again, she got taken out the rankings, so I don't know what's up with that. And then other people like Ketlin Vieira streaking now, and then there's one Irene Aldana. Now I don't know if she can do what she did with Pena, or excuse me, do what she did with Nunes with Irene Aldana
Mm-mm.
in terms of like getting her out of that focus realm to pick it. I think she tries that with Irene, you know, but then again, Irene is not nearly as developed in terms of the wrestling and the grappling as Nunes. So it's
Mhm.
like I'm thinking Irene or what you call it, Ketlin, maybe well, no, not maybe. I don't think Nisha because of what the recent fight, but I don't know because they made some comments like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Misha and Pena fought after, like if Pena defended it or whatever. I don't think that's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I would give them props to do it, because they are friends, but they would put that friendship aside just to like, compete. But I really don't see that happening either, and then I don't really think fans want it with her being, let me see, ranking says she's number 7 right now.
mm,
Um, Now people might not like this fight, but I think Pena has a business mind, but she will
yeah.
take on number 1, Holly Holm.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Holly
Mhm.
Holm as well. So that's another one. And before we get off, like I just want to say, people that think it was rigged, oh my goodness.
Oh,
Like
man.
I'm a pro hardcore pro wrestling fan.
Mhm.
So like I know the ins and outs of when they're trying to like tell this type of story or sell this move this way because they're trying, like I literally know the ins and outs of the wrestling business.
Mhm.
And for you to tell me like a fight is rigged, like or even predetermined in any way, shape, or form, I'm gonna see it. Like that I'm gonna see, like there's times when wrestling matches go on, I already know who's gonna win like 2 minutes prior to the finish. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way this shit was rigged. And from a money standpoint, it makes no sense.
Right.
It literally makes no sense because Nunes, great fighter, she's awesome. That's coming from a Saudi Valentina fan. You know what I'm saying? She's a
Mhm.
great fighter. She's a GOAT. But unfortunately, this is according to a lot of different sources. The pay-per-views didn't draw that much. They weren't that great of a draw when she main evented. So it's like now you're talking, okay, what's the point of Nunes throwing that fight? Like if we're gonna entertain that silliness, okay, they rematch. But if the rematch isn't gonna draw anyway, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't good enough to be the main event the first time. And then you look at Shevchenko Nunes. A lot of people believe that Shevchenko had a great chance of winning that second fight because of how the first one ended, and that fight didn't draw. And Shevchenko, they're gonna tout much higher, the casual fans at least, as someone who has a better chance of beating Amanda
Right.
than Pena.
Yeah.
Even if Pena, like it's just there's no drawing power, there's no money motivation. Plus the Kayla Harrison situation. Why would Dana say, "Hey Amanda, go throw this fight," so that
Exactly.
now we can't make millions off of Kayla coming in and fighting the undefeated Amanda? Like, think about it, bro.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Like I didn't even get to mention the Kayla in my video because I was just freestyling and I was so I wouldn't say I was pissed off, but I was just like in a funk and I had to get it out and I just did the video and I was like, I didn't mention that. I didn't BJ just mentioned cowboy fight. I didn't get a chance to mention that. The cowboy fight's a good example of a rigged fight, because you stand to lose a lot of money if Connor loses. But what do you stand to lose if, you know, what do you stand to lose, in this situation? Right? I mean,
You're just
there's
losing money, man.
yeah.
Amanda versus Kayla, and as much as PFL has hyped them up, and PFL's broadcast on ESPN,
Mhm.
so it's like there, people will know who Kayla is. Any MMA fans, they're gonna know who she is, and then you match her up with Amanda. That's a money fight. They're both undefeated, kind of ish. Amanda, because of the 12 fight win streak, it's like that's gonna sell a lot. People are
Mhm.
gonna believe. People would believe Kayla more than Pena, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, why would you do the Pena? It just, I just can't stand when people say fights are rigged, bro. Like that is silly to me. Consider I'm a wrestling fan. Like I know
Mhm.
what a rigged fight is supposed to look like. Like when they want someone to get over, or they want something to look a specific way. There are so many technical aspects that go into that. I'm like, like you clearly don't understand that those shots are really landing
Mhm.
and really, you know what I'm saying? Like if one shot catches you the wrong way, you drop.
Right.
If Amanda Nunes all of a sudden cocks back, hits Pena a certain way, she could immediately flatline her. You're talking
Yeah.
about rigging a fight. You see how Pena's face looked? They didn't have time to put makeup on that shit. Like and
Right.
make it look like that happened. Like she actually got hit that hard to look like that. Punches that do that land that hard can knock someone clear out.
Right. And why would Nunez want to take this many heavy blows, if she was gonna throw a fight? Like, why would I go through being concussed to throw a fight? Like, you don't, even with a movie, like a script, you don't say, okay, we're gonna risk you getting your hand cut off here. You know what I mean? Instead of just
Right,
putting,
right.
stopping the saw before your hand goes into it. I'm like, come on, like I just don't get this, man. Like BJ said the only person came close to KOing to being KO'd was Nunez. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, because there was no reason. Yeah, if that, yeah, you see it that way. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's not rigged. Nunez was not acting. She was not acting. I mean, people thought from that angle too, where she got choked out. I mean, that position she was in. I mean, anybody would have tapped to that. I mean, especially if your wheel was broken. I mean, at that point, Nunez was just like, I'm done. She can have it. And people don't
So
understand that.
what like if anyone in the chat has seen the Brian Ortega Volkanovski fight that just happened recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He had him in a mounted freaking guillotine,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy didn't tap. There's a reason for that because he was not necessarily heavily gassed. He was in great shape
Mm-hmm.
and therefore had plenty of air in his lungs to be able to fight that shit up. You got to think.
Oh, I heard a click. I think you got cut off there, two beats.
Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Right where
yeah,
you
my
would, yeah, right where you had said the part where he got caught in the guillotine. That's where.
oh, okay, yeah, my browser sucks. I think it's when I switched from the browser to, cause I'm trying to look at the chat too.
Oh,
But
okay.
but yeah, like when he got caught in that guillotine, he was able to survive because he's in great shape and he had plenty of air in his lungs to be able to fight it. If you're gasping for air as it is, and all you want to do is sit down on a stool and make it to the next round, but then you add on top of that someone's choking you. Plus, you just got a whole bunch of punches landed on you to almost where you fell, and the cage pretty much saved you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're out of gas already, you're out of breath, and when that choke cinches in, it's like you, you already you're already at a disadvantage,
Right.
So it's not like, oh, she didn't have the hooks in and this, that, and other. Chael Sonnen even was like, oh, that's not a submission, that's not a choke. And he said like she quit, and that's essentially what happened. She quit because I was in a fight that I didn't expect. I overexerted myself. This
Mm-hmm.
is only going south from here. You know what I'm saying? I'm deciding, you know what? I want to go home to Nina and my little girl.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, what it is, I'll live to fight another day. That's essentially what happened.
Yeah, because it came down to the point where it's like, do I tap or do I just pass out? And she said, "Look, I'm tapping. I'm done." Like, I mean, BJ made a point too. That's what I was just saying about exhaustion and defeat when you factor that into a choke versus like you were saying with Volkanovski. This situation was you take this many blows, your brain is foggy, plus Pena clinches you and takes you down and slams you. So you have no more will, you have no more breath. You're just taking all of these punches. She's like, I'm ready to go home. And that might shock people when you're a fan of Nunes. That's going to shock you, but your champion is human. You just have to understand she's human too, man.
Yeah, man. But I honestly like bias, and as a Valentina Shevchenko fan,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put it out there, you know what I mean? All the Valentina haters. It's like the reason there's a lot of things that went into Amanda losing the fight, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of different factors. And one of those factors was she got out of her element in a position she wasn't used to being in and decided to get into a brawl in a street fight. Now, is there someone that can bring that out of Valentina? Remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, that's why, like, when we were having the debate combo about, like, Amanda versus, Valentina in terms of greatest fighter, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of resume, Valentina absolutely 100% cannot compete with that. What, five,
Mm-hmm.
six former champions can't compete
Mm-hmm.
with that. But in terms of skill, like you said, skill wise, sure, Valentina over Amanda. But like, this is why I'm so heavy on like, listen, man, for those who say go this, that, and the other, just understand, like, it's mainly about a thing when it comes like Amanda has the skills, Amanda has the talent, but she has that resume. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So the resume is what allows for her, for the most part, to trump Valentina, and that it is what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, you know, I fairly want to, give my opinion. Like I think Valentina gets bumped up just a little bit closer, not quite, but a little bit closer to that GOAT status. If I just can interject my opinion real quick.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I mean, I respect that. I mean, I was disappointed in the fact that Nunes didn't know how to she didn't know how to go to the well and change up the style. And I think a part of being a GOAT is being able to do that. Like if I go to my GOAT, Muhammad Ali, it's like you never seen Muhammad Ali lose in that fashion. Like there have been times when he's lost, but he's never like his last two losses of his career, that's ended his career. But when you're talking about like when he got dropped by Joe Frazier in that first fight. He could have won that fight if he didn't get dropped. You know what I mean? Like, there's always some element where it's always fighting tooth and nail for it. You know, you really got to kill him before he gets out of there. Like Nunes, it was just like she traded in the third round, but that could have been avoided. You know what I mean? Like she had enough tools in her arsenal to say, this ain't working, let's go to something else. And I think that's what a GOAT does. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to question now. You know, I mean,
Mm,
I'm not going to take anything away from her and, just say she's done. I saw people in chat say she's garbage now. And I'm like, okay,
that is
we don't do that.
silly. You
Yeah.
know, it's funny. Those same people that saying she garbage now would be the same people shitting on Valentina, talking about, oh, Valentina, da,
Hmm.
da, 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 or just in general saying, oh, she the goat, and then quick to turn like,
Hmm.
dude. The reason why I'm so interested in someone like a Lupe Godinez, right, is
Hmm.
because I initially couldn't stand, what happened in the Panay fight. I was like, man, I knew she could have like went out there and really didn't give them any choice but to choose her
Hmm.
in terms of the judges. So I was like, man, come on, Lupe, I don't want to watch you no more. Then I
Right.
watched her because I'm a fan, and then she won me back over. That's why I'm so high on Loopy. But it's
Hmm.
like people are so quick to like turn on people, and then like it's just that, but it's illogical, and it's not like they don't give them a chance. Like
Hmm.
I said, oh Loopy, man, come on, man. But I still watched her to see if she could come back and still impress me.
Hmm.
Most people are gonna just write this person off and be like, yo, she's garbage. Like I ain't gonna call Loopy garbage even after that Panay fight. Even when I was mad, like she ain't garbage. It's just like, man, I'm disappointed. Let me see if she could make the improvement or make the adjustment, come back with a win. Boom, she does it.
Hmm.
Submits that girl in the first round. I'm like, okay. And then she turns around and freaking takes that Luana Carolina fight. I'm like, yo, she's a real fighter.
Yeah.
125, 7-day notice. And it's like she won me over, even though I initially was disappointed. It's like you get one disappointment, and now all of a sudden, the same thing with the Miranda Maverick thing. People are quick to write her off. But at the same time, people were talking about, oh, she's very technically sound. Some of those same people were saying that. It's like, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. Like, people are so quick to just say, oh, screw this fighter, da 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 da, and not and dismiss them completely. You know,
Hmm.
I invest heart into when I root for someone and I'm disappointed, but that don't mean, oh, this fighter's a bum and this, that, and the other. It's just, come on, just have some patience. Like, yes, she lost, but think about who all the people she beat, and you're gonna call her So everybody that she beat was garbage. So Valentina was garbage.
Hmm.
You calling
Right.
Valentina
Exactly.
garbage. So if Amanda is garbage, that means
Mhm.
everybody she beat was garbage.
Right.
Think
Yeah.
about what you're saying. Like, ain't nobody on planet Earth I think can realistically call Valentina garbage.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. People are just people, bro.
Yeah. Cause like my perspective, like I said, I basing it off of what I see and not what other people say. And when I watch her and what she did in there, will kind of make me say, will a goat do that? But I'm not gonna go out the way and say, oh no, like she lost everything. Her status is gone. But it just makes me think like myself and say, I've never seen like greatest of all times just like, give to somebody like this or just submit under pressure. They will like switch the game up or, go to a completely different style. Or, they will just like make it a boring fight if need be. But like Amanda was just drawn into some other realm here. It just kind of threw me off. But like I
Yeah.
said, I'm not going to take her GOAT status away. The other day we were debating on that. I was basing that off of like this link somebody sent me, and like I said, I can't remember the page. It's a popular page. I just can't remember the name. It said who is the GOAT. Who's considered like the best fighter. Valentina or Nunes, and when I put it together off of skills and resume, I have to say Nunes. But like, can Nunes, can Shevchenko do some things better than Nunes? Of course, but Nunes is rounding it out with that factor, like we were saying, Pena has it sometimes. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
sometimes that's them natural abilities that get you to that element that textbook skills just can't get you. You know what I mean? Like the firing that we
Yeah.
see in Pena could get her to an element where Shevchenko can't be. And it did against Nunes. Like she knocked Nunes out. That's something that Shevchenko will never do because she has that natural ability. And that's what goals are made of. That's all I was saying. That's why I just feel like sometimes the technical skills, it can get you so far, but sometimes you have to have something else about you, man. Like that's just natural. That just gives
Mm-hmm.
you that extra push. And
Yeah.
the argument, like I said, it could go either way, but I just feel like with what she accomplished with the skills that she has, Nunes just was, like I said, it can be a question now because of what happened Saturday. But at the time, I was saying Nunes is the best or better, the
Mm-hmm.
better fighter. Like when we talk about better technician, Shevchenko's name is going to come up, of course, as the better technician. But all around fighter, that's just like a different definition than technician to me.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, like my main thing was the opponents is what I was trying to say. Like, is like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, Nunes could Valentina knock out Cyborg. Like, that's not even I me personally, I don't feel like it's relevant because it's such the huge weight difference. Like, of course, Valentina is not going to be able to do what Nunes did to Cyborg. That Nunes has certain physical traits cannot that Valentina cannot replicate in the form of skill. Enough so to do what Nunes did to Cyborg. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like, yeah, Nunes has the resume that she has, and sure, Valentina probably could not do to those fighters what Nunes did, but one of those reasons has to do with that thing that extra element that you mentioned outside of just the technique and the skills that that aggression, the size, and that natural given power, where and then not to mention that the actual cage weight that they do walk in, the more weight that you have, the more punches you can absorb, the more effect your punches has. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those physical traits play a part of it, but at the end of the day, it's still that's the fighter. And
Mm-hmm.
from a fighter standpoint, yeah, Amanda Nunes as a fighter is going to be better because she can do more based on the combination of the skills and the power and the natural abilities. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Based on that, she can do more and be more effective to more people. And thus, I do have to give the nod to Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute Valentina fan saying this, people. I'm so
All right,
just
y'all
you know
heard
what I
him.
mean.
Y'all heard him. Y'all got him on record. That's a Valentina Shevchenko fan still giving it up for her rival. Look at that. Look at that. Hey, look, we got to take time to laugh here. Look, man, Zaman in the chat said, I had 4 parlays crash thanks to Nunes. Thanks for that laugh, Zaman. I'm telling y'all, man, like,
That's
same thing I told TJ, man, with the Whaley and Rose fight. I said, look, I'm picking Whaley, but I ain't putting money on that, man. I was like, hey, do what you want.
mm,
I am not putting money on that fight. I did with Rose Joanna, Holly and Ronda, Cyborg and Nunes. All of those I won. But this one here, I was like, don't do it. I was like, don't do it. And he did it. But
that damn betting, man.
hey
I
man.
wanted to get into it, like on some fighters that I really, really know, very well and stuff.
Hmm.
But it's just like, if anything, this shit here, man, will make you not want to put $1 on anything,
Hmm.
bro.
Yeah, this
Like,
fight here between Nunes and Pena, it was just like, okay, Nunes gonna do her thing, but I was like, Pena could still do it, but I was like, I ain't touching that. But when Holly and Ronda fought, I was going around everywhere. I was like, oh, Holly gonna whoop her. Holly's gonna whoop her. I was telling everybody that. And everybody was like, yeah, 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 right. I was like, Holly gonna whoop her. Holly was gonna whoop her. Watch this. And what did she do? She whooped her. I was so happy that night. I was calling everybody, man. I was like, look at this. What did I tell you? And then when Rose and Joanna fought, I was like, something about Rose's style is just too much for Joanna. I was like, she gonna knock her out. I told everybody that too, and they're like, "Oh, you lying, man. She ain't gonna do that." What she do in the first round? Knocked her out,
First
man.
round.
Yeah,
Got the
man.
strikes.
And
Yeah,
like I
but
said, that's just some fights like that you can call, but everything else is just some things I ain't even gonna touch, man. Like,
nah, like you gotta do the two beast bet, man. The only thing I'm betting is that I'm gonna enjoy the freaking fight. That's it.
yeah, yeah. Oh man. Let me get your thoughts here. I'm kind of pushing it. I'm pushing it. I said 20 minutes ago I'll be done, but let me go ahead and ask you, man. What'd you think of Miranda and Aaron Blanchfield?
I was the same boat, man. I was torn like heart wise, like
Mhm.
dang, man, like Miranda. I was thinking that maybe Aaron, but then again, I was all over the place, man. I didn't have a solid pick whatsoever. I just
Mhm.
wanted to see what happened and assess, you know, where each of them were at. And I thought, you know, Miranda was much better in terms of on the ground and in wrestling defense and offense than what she displayed, is what
Mhm.
I came away with thinking. I I'm seeing what's happening, but I feel like this isn't the best like Miranda has to offer.
It's not.
The way that she was getting controlled and not able to get up and all, like, well, she got up I think twice in the first round, or maybe I don't know for sure. I'd have to watch it again, but nah, I was like, maybe it was like a 10 is what my expectations were in terms of her grappling and wrestling ability, and then she met me at like a 6 or 7. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And ultimately, like I was surprised that Aaron was able to do that, you know, that effectively, that easily. I thought it would be more of a challenge. Um, and I'm not trying to knock Miranda in any way. I just was, I was surprised at the that level of skill that Aaron was able to show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know you are. But like I said myself, I was really torn because like I've seen these two for a while now since they were like 18, and I was just like, I can't pick, man. I was like, I'm gonna just go with Miranda because of the experience, man. But Aaron, she just came out of her shell, man, and I think a win over Miranda, that stands for a lot because Miranda's been fighting tough competition. Like, to me,
Hmm.
Casey O'Neill, she's been, fighting a little bit easier fights, but I
Mm.
think Miranda's been having a harder road, especially getting robbed against Macy Barber, but I think
Well,
Miranda still has a lot more to offer, man.
oh yeah, I would definitely not count out Miranda yet. And just for the record, like there is a reason why I have not mentioned Casey O'Neill, because I,
Mhm.
I I made a promise to myself. I am not gonna mention um anything in regards to like arguments or debates towards Casey being anything until after the Roxy fight. So yeah, you ain't gonna hear a word from me until after that Roxy fight.
Okay.
Just a thought there. But yeah,
I
in terms of
respect that,
Miranda,
definitely. I gotta respect that because Roxy dangerous. See everybody else trying to front like Roxy ain't dangerous. Roxy dangerous.
well, it's like for me, it's like I understand that, it is a very fair point that they're very similar, her and Macy, their path, they're like literally almost parallel.
Mhm.
But I just see something a little bit different in Casey than I do Morant and than I do Macy.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like when it comes to Casey, I see like, yes, she has the finishes, yes, she has the aggression, but she's more grappling wrestling than, whereas Macy was like throwing bombs at you, and then you know what I mean, like she's more striking dominant, Casey's more wrestling dominant. So that's
That's
the
very
one
true.
difference.
Mhm.
And then the other one is Macy had a much bigger ego than Casey. Casey will go out and say, yeah, I believe, like, I think I'm going to be able to take her out in the second round. But I don't know. Her head is more leveled, in my opinion, than Macy's was. Macy's like, yo, I'm gonna take out Valentina like next year. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
just feel
yeah.
like their mentalities are slightly different. And then plus, one's more grappling dominant, the other one's more striking dominant.
which is a better
So,
which is better to have, I think, too. Yeah, I think Casey's ability to go to the ground and get dirty is going to help her more than it will Macy. Yeah, I agree with that.
but yeah, like I'm definitely, I'm gonna not say, oh, she's this, that. No, I'm gonna wait to say anything in terms of you should be acknowledging her as this and that. I'm gonna wait until after the Roxy fight.
Okay. So the boss said Aaron was just too good. She's getting better every fight and will be a problem for the division. Miranda still has a lot of potential, but she needs serious improvements to get in top 10. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, like focus is a big part, man. Like I think she just has a lot going on outside. And like I said, I ain't one to sugarcoat, you know. Let's be real. You got a lot of stuff going outside. Your fight will be affected. And it showed. Aaron's cold blooded. That's why it's a nickname, man. She's focused, man. And like I think, man, like you will see her in the top 10, like next to her and Manon. That's like they got something to get there, man. Like to me. Um, and I'm gonna look. I'm not saying this to bother you, two beats, but I'm telling BJ, Aaron's gonna beat Casey O'Neill. I just want to say that to rile him up. But anyway, um,
That, like I'm gonna root against, and I'm gonna do that. But like we found out firsthand to not dismiss fighters just 48 hours ago. So anything
oh,
is possible.
this is a good point the boss made, man, about Casey O'Neill. She's been exposing fighters with lack of cardio. She got good cardio. She does
Oh
have good
yeah,
cardio.
yeah.
Yeah, she's got really good cardio. Oh, that got BJ's heart going. Look at he loved that. Now I shouldn't have said that. Australia said Maverick had two poor performances in a row. I'm thinking she's overrated. Nah, not at all. She's had one bad performance. She's not overrated. I mean, overrated was Macy Barber when she was ranked like number in the top 10, you know, and Roxy exposed that. I think it's just a bad showing in a robbery, but she still got promise. I mean, she has more tools than a lot of these unranked girls have. I mean, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Cedric said y'all should be hyping up Cheyenne Velismus, honestly. What do you think about her? I want to know what's your opinion on Cheyenne, man?
uh, that's one of my fighters that I really like, just like similar to Loopy, where it's like, cause I don't know if anybody knows this, I have a personal vendetta against Francis Ngannou. So it's like when fighters say they want to be active and they turn around and don't be active, or they're negotiators, they're lawyers with all the, you're a professional fighter, you know, you're getting paid to fight. Some people so much so that that's the only thing they do is that, they're fighters. But then when you turn around and you're like all this negotiation stuff, like you're getting paid more than 90+% of the people in the world. A lot of times, these fighters at the top of these cards, and it's like you got complaints about pay, you got this, that, and other. It's like when I look at Lupi Godinez, I look at Cheyenne Vlismas, they're like, fuck it, we're gonna go scrap, and she's a stand-up fighter for the most part, so that's always gonna generate a pretty decent excitement in terms of you're gonna get action. And in terms of skill, it's hard to assess. Like, I'm not the best when it comes to it. I'll see one fight and I'm like, okay, that looked decent, and I'm like expecting her another her to do it in another fight, and then it looks different, and I'm not sure what happened. So it's like I'm not the best at assessing the skill necessarily, but from my guess is that she's pretty damn good in terms of the stand up. I don't know how she'll fare against like, Lemos, Rodriguez, and Rose or whatever, people like that. But
Well,
you know,
Loopy would give her problems, I think.
yeah, well, mainly because she can do
The
striking
goon.
and the wrestling. Yeah, the goon, man, like that. Loopy's a freaking problem.
Yeah, man.
That's a motherfucking problem.
Okay.
Like
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah, yeah. Let me jump back over here. I gotta stick somebody one more time. Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, man. There's this one guy in the chat, man. He happy Miranda's losing. I think, man. I mean, he thinks Montana's better than Miranda right now, man. I mean, like Miranda's not out there getting finished. I mean, well, if she ain't looking bad, let's put it that way. I mean, like Aaron, that's a given. I mean, that was tough competition. That's her first fight. She's really looked dominated in. But I'm just saying, like, uh, she doesn't go in there and get that same beating like Montana. I mean, come on. Now you're saying Miranda would lose
damn.
to Montana. Come on, man. Like Aaron is better than Montana. Yes, I said that. Aaron is better than Montana. That's why Miranda lost to her. You know, Miranda and Aaron
Smoke.
beat Montana. They beat Casey O'Neill. Manon, Manon, look. I think Manon. Oh man, I can't even say Manon beats everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna just put it that way.
She don't beat Valentina, damn it.
Okay, look, yeah. We ain't even going there yet. Yeah,
I
we
was just
staying
messing
out of that
around.
one. No, man. I think aside from Taylor, though, out of this triple threat I'm talking about, I think Manon, she's like the the she's like the top of the line with what she's bringing to the table, man. Like I just see so much dominance coming out of her, man. Like Manon, I'm ready to see her fight Jessica Eye. Like that's a fight I see. You know, she could go in there, make a big statement, and get a stoppage, man. But you know, you never know how it goes. But I think she has that ability, man, to just put this division on notice, man. What do you think about Taylor, though, man? Like Taylor, is she gonna put up a good fight in Valentina or what? Oh, I think I lost you again, two beats.
It's when I switched to the chat for too long,
Oh,
like
okay,
the
okay,
YouTube
got it.
app,
Yeah.
and yeah, excuse my phone, but nah, I think Tyler Santos is definitely will be a pretty decent challenge somewhere. Like if you rate Tyler's performance, like say Tyler's performance is a 10,
Mm-hmm.
look at what Jennifer Maya accomplished against, Valentina. I think Jennifer Maya's performance would be like the 7 to Tyler's 10. How I think she's gonna do against Valentina, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Okay.
Slightly better than, or you never know, she might pull it off. Who knows? But I'm thinking like slightly better than how Jennifer Meyer was able to hang in there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Look, I'm gonna ask you this. Look, why why would why would I rotate Montana? Why would I rotate Miranda out of my top four when you have when you have Montana in your top four? BJ? I mean, if you got Montana in your top four, come on, BJ. You know I got to have Miranda in mine, and I mean, come on, BJ, come on.
You
He said
can't.
rotate Maverick out. I'm like, rotate Maverick out? You better rotate Montana out and never even bring her back. You know, you might put Jillian in there.
But
I can understand
but
you put Jillian in there first. Maybe put Jillian. Well, let me stop
to
because I'm gonna
to
get
to
him.
defend BJ though,
Hmm.
if you look at someone like a Charles Oliveira,
Hmm.
you know, at first he wasn't necessarily winning up against the top, competition. He was tried and tested against top level competition, came up short.
Hmm.
And you know what I mean? Now, X amount of years later, he's champ. I don't know, just for an argument for BJ in terms of the Montana De La Rosa, like, because you
All
said,
right.
like,
Well, you making
I,
that argument? I'm pulling her resume up though. Go ahead.
but yeah, like, I remember you said, like, she had went up already against the, like, you know, next level competition and came up short. I think that's what you were saying at some
Hmm.
point when y'all was debating Montana.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so it got me thinking, like, all these people, like Jose Aldo is like another example where he's like, I know it's slightly different because he was already a champion, but like the longevity thing where it's like, even though you're not like necessarily at that level where you're a champion yet, you still have time to improve and get to a point where you get the belt. Like,
Right.
It's closer to like Charles Oliveira, where it's like
Let me ask
he's
you this though, like a lot of the people that Charles Oliveira beat are some of them still in the UFC though?
I'm assuming the reason you asked me that is because they aren't.
No, 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 no. I mean, like some of them are. I'm saying like the ones Montana beat, they're not in the UFC anymore.
Oh, okay. I
Like,
see what you mean.
let me see. She beat Christina Marks. I remember that fight. That was the Ultimate Fighter fight. Rachel Ostovich, Kasim, Mario Barella, all gone. And she lost to Andrea Lee and Viviana Rujo. Good
Mm.
skill fighters. Fighters with more skill. BJ. Fighters with more skill. Yes. Fighters with more absolutely got more skills. Um, she can back. She bounced back with Ariane Lipsky.
Okay.
Okay, okay, yeah, all right. So BJ, come on. The Kasim fight, Rachel Ostovich, Christina Marks. That's kind of like Invicta level. It was UFC, but it's Invicta level because it's Ultimate Fighter. So she hasn't really got like a top level win. To me, Miranda beating Jillian Robertson. To me, she beat Macy Barber. Who was the other fighter that she beat? Joe Jua.
Jojo.
Yeah, I think she's shown a lot more skills than Montana has in those fights. Montana showed a lot more holes. That's why she's been losing. You know, but it's okay, BJ. We gonna talk tomorrow. We're gonna talk tomorrow for sure. And two B's. If you ain't busy tomorrow, I definitely want you to come back on tomorrow, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. What time you thinking though?
Probably like roughly around the same time, because BJ talking in all
7.
caps, so I gotta probably go soon because he over here. Look at him. He over here. Oh, over here talking. Look at Miranda got dominated on the ground. Okay, okay.
Yo,
And
man.
Andrea Lee pieced up Montana. Okay.
Forget about Pena Nunes, man. We need to schedule BJ versus Combo, man. For the I don't know the Breaker Gang Chat World Championship or some shit.
But look, I'm gonna be in it for more than 2 rounds though. BJ already know you don't hear like 3-4 hours sometime, man. You don't hear till my doggone eyes start to run together. So
That's the fight to make. Dana need to book that shit.
BJ might take step aside money. They do that in boxing. You give somebody money to step aside to avoid a fight. BJ might do that. So I don't know. All
Oh
right,
man.
but it's
I
always
hope
good
BJ
to
forgive me, man. I'm an instigator.
No, he did say in the comment section you were laughing he's gonna get you. So I missed that comment. But yeah, hold on. No, straight. I'm sorry, look straight. Let me ask you this too, man. Sarge, what do you think of Sarge? I do be sleeping on her, man. I be forgetting about Sarge sometime, man. Like, what do you think of Sajara Eubank?
Man, like when she fought what was that chick's name? It was some girl that was from LFA. I think it was the LFA champion. Like she just dominated. And I'm like, damn, man. Like I was sleeping on her too. Like I didn't even know. Like, cause she's one of those ones close. I put her slightly over what's it
Montana,
called? No.
Jillian.
What was the chick's name? Randa Marcos. Like she
Oh, Random
reminds
Marco.
me of like a slightly higher level of Randa Marcos where her record gets in the way of her talent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like she's like 7-6, 8-6 or so, but look at the 6 losses, who they were to in the fashion. It's not like the most. I don't know. Like she's had close. She's kind of reminds me of Randa in that way, where like she's a good fighter. It's just sometimes maybe things aren't put together well in one instance, and it gives away the fight, or like she kind of reminds me of that in the sense where it's like the record takes away from how good she is, but she is good,
Yeah, yeah,
when she's at her best.
yeah. She is, man. Like she can bang too, man. Like Sarge got a chin on her, man. Like I
Mm.
still think she beat Aspen Ladd in that second fight, man. But like, yeah, she's got something, I just hope, man, she can perform Saturday because that fight's coming up with her and Melissa Gatto. That girl Melissa Gatto, she only has one fight, but I think she's got some tools, man. She's got a long length, like
Mm.
good power too. So we'll see though, man. Yeah, Two Beats, it's good to have you on, man. Like I said, you got to come back on tomorrow. Um, what's your final thoughts though, like overall, man? Just like WMMA period, and the card this
Uh,
past Saturday.
WMMA period still exciting me, man. Like I love it, dude. Like for the very reason that Pena won is why I love this freaking sport because it's like that's why you always got to watch the damn fight, no matter how much. And that's why I never sit back and say, "Up, yep, Valentina, yep, she's got us in the bag." I don't even have to watch that fight. Like, nah, like that's why you'll never catch me with that attitude. Like, I know, and even Valentina herself in every interview, that's why she's like, everybody's powerful, everybody's dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
and she truly believes it, and that's why she walks into every single fight like that person is the most dangerous person on planet Earth to me if I don't, you know, stick to my cues and actually come and show up. Like, because all these fighters are trained killers technically. They know
Mm-hmm.
how to choke people out, they know how to throw strike. Well, some people use grit technique and others use less of technique, but nonetheless, these are trained killers. You go out there and you fuck up, you can get beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like anyone can make a mistake and then that's it. You get caught with a left hook, you get dropped or whatever. Like, so it's like in WMMA and MMA in general, it's just like that's why I always like watching it because it's like you have to watch it and find out what happens. It's like, oh, I think this fighter is going to dominate, but how well do they dominate?
Right.
How efficient were they? Did they make mistakes during their domination that might cost them in another fight they got potentially that they're looking at? You know what I mean? Like it's not just about, oh, they're gonna win, like, and you dismiss that fighter completely. Like, nah, like, and then specifically the WMMA, I feel like, yo, like with Amanda losing the way that she did, 135, like let's say 115 is top of the line and far that's 10 on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
135 was like a 2 to 115's 10 in terms of interest.
Right.
I think 135 immediately just jumped up like a 6 or 7, dog, like easy in terms of interest, like because like now people understand like even Amanda's not invincible. A lot of people probably didn't even believe it. That's why people ain't calling for that fight. That's why Juliana Pena was the only motherfucker crazy enough calling for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and she got like 5 people ranked over
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show like all the trash talk, all this, that, and the other, all these fighters are like, or anybody who dismisses trash talk, like, yo, the loudest mouth got fed in the biggest way possible. And, as far as the other fights, you know what I'm saying? Like Priscilla and Jillian and then Aaron and Miranda, like Aaron and Miranda was a technical clinic. Like I
It was.
personally love fights like that, grappling, when it's like they're just like actual grappling where they're trying to advance positions, trying to lock in submissions, mixing some ground and pound. I can't stand I think it's somebody in the chat called it the blanket of doom. I think it was Robert Henry or somebody.
I think Robert Henry, Marcus Bell, one of them too.
Marcus Bell, what are the blanket of I don't like that type of style of grappling, but when they're trading positions and they're trying to
Yeah.
advance, and that is awesome. Even sometimes it impresses me more than the striking aspect. You
Yeah.
know,
I was impressed by, Aaron's transitions on Miranda and just how Miranda, um was trying to survive, you know what I mean? Like she was never like she was outclassed, but she was still alive in there. Like this wasn't
mhm,
like Andrea Lee versus Montana. You know, I mean, Andrea Lee looked like she was slicing tomatoes in there. I mean, with that jab that she put on Montana and all that blood, I was like, she's slicing tomatoes in there right now, you know. But we knew who won that fight. You know, I know we know who won this Miranda Aaron fight, but it's still like Miranda still had a level of survival in there where she just wasn't getting pummeled. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But it was a good
Nah,
fight.
like,
I mean, she can still come back from that. I think she will, man.
but yeah, man. I'm happy with WMMA in general. I just need Dana to stop having a personal vendetta against Carla, and we can, like, you know, do something about that.
Mm.
But other than that, I'm happy. Like, I'm happy for the rest of this year and like half of
Mhm.
next year over that Pena win, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Look, I'll be even happier if Macy Chiasson beats Rocky Pennington, because that's new blood right there. If Macy
Mm,
wins this weekend against Rocky Pennington, shoot, I mean, you know, Macy's climbing that ranking, so she might be asking for a title shot. So
yeah.
yeah,
But
we
then
need
Rocky just turned away that other chick, man.
yeah, Panty.
Panny Kianze. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
So it's like you never know with Rocky, man. So we'll have to see about that one.
yeah, man. But yeah, man, yeah, I'm better to close this thing out. Two beats. Like I said, tomorrow probably be back on like 7:30 ish. You know,
Uh,
gotta handle some stuff again, but it's all good. You know, when I get back on, I gotta handle something with somebody. You know, but it's all good. BJ,
yeah.
BJ, man, man, what BJ was ripping Miranda in his video. Let me just tell you that BJ was ripping Miranda. I was like, I'm about to jump through the screen, man. Like, what's going on here? Like he's over here like just ripping Miranda apart. I'm like, he's got Jillian, he's got Montana beating her. I'm like, oh man, I felt helpless, man. I felt helpless. Um, man, I'm sorry, man. Let me save it. I'll save it. But
Yeah,
yeah, y'all.
man.
Yeah, y'all. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out for Two Beats coming through, man. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like button and everything. But Two Beats will catch up again, man. And hey, I'm out. Make sure y'all subscribe, y'all. Let me see here. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, BJ still going. Look, BJ, we gonna get it in tomorrow. Don't worry, man. But yeah, let me get up out of here, y'all. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.